Hello everyone, my name is Sakshit Anand and I'm a member of We Teens Teach. Today I will begin with teaching you guys the first lesson in algebra. Now, what really is algebra? Algebra is basically just a branch of mathematics dealing with symbols and the rules for manipulating those symbols. What are these symbols? They are variables. What is a variable? A variable is a letter that describes an unknown constant. Don't think that a variable is something new to learn. You can still use a variable to represent an expression like other numbers. For example, 5 plus x. Now, to start our journey in algebra, let's begin with evaluation. Now, what is evaluation? Evaluation is not that tricky. You just need to substitute a letter with a number, which is the variable, with a number, and perform the operation. Let's start with an example. Evaluate 5x plus 4, an expression, when x equals 3. So, like how the definition of evaluation states, you basically just substitute x with whatever is given. X equals 3. So, it would just be 5 times 3 plus 4. And to simplify this, it's mainly just how you have been doing it for the past couple of years in your mathematics journey. So it's going to be 15 plus 4 equals 19. So that's the answer. Now, to solidify this idea even further, let's do some more examples. Evaluate each expression when a equals -2 and b equals -5. So these are the expressions. So to do this, it's basically like the previous example, right? Just substitute -2 and -5 for a and b in each expression. So it would just be like this. So this is for the first one. So simplifying is just like simplifying for the previous one. So it would just be -4 plus -25. So this one is -29. For the second one, 5a plus 2b, you just substitute it again. 5, -2 plus 2, -5. So it is just -10 plus -10, which is -20. So there it is. It's relatively simple. Now, let's talk about the next aspect of variables. It's called simplification. Mainly simplification in expressions with a variable. So what do I mean by this? Even though there is now the fact that we're going to be using variables, simplification is basically the same as what we've been doing previously with evaluation. So, for example, you would be multiplying two variables, right? It's the same thing, right, when you're multiplying two numbers. So to show this, it would just be like this, like x times x, which is x squared, it's the same thing as 2 times 2, which is equal to 4. Now, let's do some examples to solidify this. So the first example I'm going to do is negative 12g plus g. What is this? It's the same thing as negative 12 plus 1. It's just negative 11g. Whenever you do simplification, you have to not only do the subtraction of the specific constant, you also need to make sure that you keep the variable in the equal side. So let's do another example. Okay, so the next example is 5w minus 6w. And this is the same thing as the previous example. It's just basically just 5 minus 6, which we know is a negative 1. So it'd just be negative 1w. And in algebra, whenever you just write x or any sort of variable, the variable is most likely gonna just be 1. So you don't really need to put 1. If you put it in, it's not going to be a problem. But if you don't put it in, it's also not going to be a problem. So this is also what the answer is. Now let's talk about the last aspect of this lesson, exponents. Exponents are just another version of expressions that mainly are just a repeated form of multiplication with a similar constant. So it's just going to be like 5 times 5, right? This is an exponent because you are multiplying 5 squared. Squared is a power. So it's just going to be, and this is what you call an exponent. So it's just going to be 25. When you put the example of variables, it's basically like how we've been doing with simplification with x times x. Okay, so what you see here, this x squared, it's like the same thing as what we've done here with exponents. 5 squared, the power, 2 is the power here, and here x squared, 2 is the power. So let's do like a more complicated example. So what if we had 5 times 5 times 5 times 5? In reality, what you are doing is 5 to the 4th power, or just basically multiplying 5 4 times. So it would just be 25 times 5 times 5, 125 times 5, and this would basically just be 625. Alright guys, so that's basically the lesson for today. Just a introduction on what variables really are.